Today's offering robes ceremony to the floating lanterns ceremony in Thailand. To offer the monk robe doesn't require a lot of money, but just only one robe, that's it. But then after a while, it's related to these things. Like the abbot of the monastery is very destitute, needy for things. But in this monastery, we don't really have like giving out envelopes for the money for the donation. Because when I was a lay person, I'm very bored of people giving me envelope to put the money in for donation. Some people used to ask me to do the white envelope for the donation, but actually I never allowed, because to offer the robe, its ceremony is just only related to the robe itself. Actually, when the monks preserve their monastic disciplines well, then they can live well. Like in this temple, there is a church, and it took almost 10 years to complete. Some lay people gain some merit, some demerit. If we keep asking for the money, the lay people will get both things. So going to temples, do not just searching for the merit. You can stay home and making merit as well. For example, taking care of our parents. You do your own duty. Coming here to the temple, you should gain the wholesomeness, like mindfulness, samadhi, and wisdom. Only getting the merit is not enough. It isn't worth the time of you being born in Buddhism. Coming here, I would taught you guys to how to wait mindfulness. If you can achieve it, then you will see the swift change of your life if you practice correctly. There's two conditions. First, you need to do correctly. The second one is you have to do it sufficiently enough. To practice correctly, you have to have a firm grip on the principle of Dhamma practice. You have to know what to do, which is to educate yourself. This is our duty of Buddhists, to educate yourself, which is called three principles of the education, which is morality, samadhi, and wisdom. The first one is morality. It's about controlling your body and speech. The second lesson is about to control and improve your mind. And for the wisdom lesson, we have to improve our understanding and comprehension and give rise to the right view. If you are Buddhist and we take action to practice Dhamma, the things that we gain is the right view. Things that we can get rid of is the wrong view. There's nothing else. Therefore, if we have the right view, then we can get rid of the suffering all at once. The reasons that we keep being on suffering is because we have the wrong view. We don't really have the understanding correctly. What is it? It's actually the Four Noble Truths. It seems to be easy, the Four Noble Truths. But when I was lay person, and when I was a child, there was a morality subjects in the school, and they taught us about the Four Noble Truths for the children to understand. They said that suffering is actually rising in decay and being painful. These are part of suffering. It's not wrong. And the cause of suffering, which is the craving, and the cessation of the suffering, is very bizarre. They said that the cessation of suffering is death. This is misconception. This is misleading. Actually, there are 5 types of cessation of suffering. It can be the cessation can be approached through samatha or vipassana or nibbana. So the ultimate cessation of suffering is actually nibbana, when we can get rid of all the suffering. And for the Noble Eightfold Path, I've been memorized when I was young. If you can memorize all of these, then you can pass the exam. But once you're growing up, when I grew up, I get to understand, I get to learn more about the Dhamma. There's the eight factors which happens all at once. These eightfold factors complete. Once I read this one, I thought to myself, how could one possibly achieve it? How could all 8 factors can come together and in one moment? It seems impossible. But once I started to learn with the master and taught me to meditate, since I was like 7 years old, doing anapanasati, breathing in, breathe out, though I've been practicing it for like 7 years old. I've been doing it every day. Nobody's forced me to do it. My mind likes it. When I was till I was 29, I met Luangpu Du, and he taught me to observe my mind. That's when I can cultivate wisdom. When I can meditate in samadhi, my mind is relaxed and comfortable. I knew that there was another path. There's a path to extend, to move on, but I never knew what sort of path is that. I tried to search for the path through reading the text Tipitaka. Want to know how to improve further. In Tipitaka, there's a lot of teachings and related to Dhamma practice. But once I read, I couldn't take a grip on the gist of the Dhamma practice. But once I met Luangpu Du, he taught me directly to my mind. I used to listen to Luangpu Man's teachings. He taught that if you see the mind, you attain the Dhamma. You don't attain the mind, you don't attain the Dhamma. But I never be able to observe the mind. It didn't really get into my mind. It just passed through my brain. Once I met Luangpu Du, he taught me very easily. He taught me that you read a lot of books. Now observe your own mind. It seems to be understandable. So I said, yeah, I understood it. And he said that you go on practice. So I pay respect to him and went to Korat, one of the provinces in Thailand. And once the train leaves the station at Surin province, I was startled because I don't know where's the mind is, what's the mind. I don't know what sort of tools to observe the mind. I don't know anything. And I was startled. I don't know what to do. So I come back to the samatha practice. So this is one important example, principle. If you don't know what to do, you come back to the smarter practice. So I come back to the breath, breathe in, breathe out. So I train in the train. Once the mind becomes calm, the wisdom arises, and I can contemplate where the mind is. It actually needs to be confined within the body. It wouldn't go outside like in the field. There's a lot of fields that the mind wasn't with the fields or the trees or buffaloes and cows. The mind needs to be embedded in ourselves. So the very first thing is, if you don't know anything, you didn't know what to do, you come back to the smarter practice. The second point is that when you want to learn about yourself, do not go beyond the body. The mind is embedded in the body. So if you want to observe, to learn about the mind, you have to learn within the body. This is the second understanding that I attained. The first one is, if you don't know what to do, you can't do anything, you come back to the smarter practice, the calmness mind. The second principle is that when you want to take action to practice Dhamma, do not get your mind beyond your body. Do not go see different celestial beings, hells and heavens. There's no significance to it. So you incline the mind towards yourself. Be with yourself. You know that the mind is within the body, but I don't know where exactly the mind is in the body. So there's more questions to it. I don't know exactly where the mind is in the body. So I try to investigate through the hairs. I do a lot of meditation, so I come to observe a stray of hair, but a strand of hairs, but the hair then is gone. So I investigate further from top down and bottom up. The mind is within the body, but it doesn't locate anywhere in the body. So I thought to myself whether it might possible that the mind is within the suffering and happiness, or the beginning I tried to search within the body, but the mind is nowhere to be found within the body. So the second one, I try to investigate whether the mind is in the feelings, happiness and happiness. So I try to make the mind to gain happiness. Once the mindfulness recognized the happiness gone, I couldn't find the mind itself. Or if the mind is within the suffering, I couldn't know how to produce suffering. So I tried to observe the body instead. Keep on observing the body without moving at all. So I keep sitting for a long period of time, and then it becomes painful. So I observe the pain, and I could see that the pain falls away. I couldn't find the mind. So the mind isn't within the feelings as well. So whether the mind, so I thought to myself, if the mind is with the thoughts, I'm not really competent at observing the five arahants back then. So I try to keep on observing where the mind is in these five arahants. So I try to keep on think of the mantra, like the chanting that I like, Buddho, Susato, Karuna, Mahanavo in Pali. The Lord Buddha, who is the most purified, have the grandiose compassion towards being. And I could see the thoughts, the rising of thoughts from the middle of my chest like a snake slithering. It's resurfacing from the emptiness in the middle of my chest. And then it dissipates and falls away and becomes empty again. As soon as it could see the rising of thoughts, it's not just wordings, it's actually the streams of thoughts that are rising in the middle of my chest. It falls away. And at that moment, the mind become awakened as soon as you see it. This is when Master taught us to meditate on objects. When the mind drifts off from the object of meditation, and also that moment when I found it for myself, that happens to me. At the moment I intentionally think, I didn't let the mind think relentlessly. I could see the rising of thoughts, the stream of thoughts. When the stream of thoughts falls away, as soon as I recognized it, the arising of the joyful mind happened. And actually, the opposite side of the lost mind, the knower mind, is opposite of the lost mind. The lost mind can be lost through six senses, through the ears, go to taste, go to feel the body, go to think through the mind. The lost mind that happens very often is through the mind, through thinking. At the moment that I thought I could see the mind thinks, then no mind arises. If it's not lost in thoughts, then it becomes no mind. If it's not lost, then it becomes a knower. When it's not the knower, it becomes lost. This is one duality. This is duality. Once you gain the knower mind and become stable and become bright, luminous, I could see this kind of mind since I was young, since I was like 10 years old. I didn't observe the lost mind back then. I can derive the knower mind through the sitting meditations, breathing in, breathe out, though, count 1 and count 2. Once the mind becomes calm, the counting goes, just breathing, breathe out, though, left. Once the mind becomes calmer, then the Buddha and though gone, and only the breath. Once it gets even calmer, the breath gone, the light happens. The light becomes the vision, and the mind leaves the breath and go to observe the light. Once I could see that the mind flows towards the light, the mind that flowing falls away, and the knower mind becomes arising again. The mind becomes awakened and joyful one, knowing awakened, joyful. I just comply the teachings of the masters to practicing breathing, breathe out, though, on and on. Till one day, when I was 10 years old, there's the house fires at next to my house, and I become startled once I step like the third step. My recognize the startleness, and the startleness falls away, and the mind becomes stable. This is actually it's actually similar to when you see the mind that lost, and so if you can gain this stable mind or knower mind from the meditation, this knower mind will be strong. It can last for days. Through the recognition of the mindfulness from moment to another moment, like the mind lost, lost again, the mind will be stable for a moment. This kind of samadhi called momentarily samadhi. Kanika in Bali, it's momentary samadhi. It happens from moment to another moment. If your mind lost and lost again, again, these momentary samadhi will happen more frequently. At first, take a long period of time for you to recognize the mind that lost. But after practicing it for a period of time, then the drift away mind will fall away, shorter. Those who cannot practice well, those who never practice, they lost one time a day because they lost from dusk till dawn. But for those who practice well, they lost very often. The mind become the knower and then lost again, knower and lost again. through the six senses. So each day the mind will lost countlessly, especially when you practice very well. The number of the number of lost mind will be higher and higher, not lower. But speaking of Abhidhamma, the higher doctrine, the lost mind is lower and lower mind is higher. The next mind, if the first mind is the lower mind, if the first mind is the lost mind, then the next mind it will be lost again. So you thought that the mind lost for a long period of time, but actually the mind doesn't last long like that. It just happens once and very abruptly. But in your feelings, when you going, when you get up in the morning and you becomes lost in the world and then go back to sleep, and before going to chanting to Buddha, and you realize that you just lost the whole day. So you think that the lost mind is permanent, but actually it's not. So when you practice more and more, you lost for about half a day, and then you realize that you just lost for half a day. The mind will become awakened for a moment, and then you'll be lost again for another half a day. So the lost mind will take turns of the knowing mind. So if you practice well enough, you could see that the mind lost for, like, for example, minutes. Then you know so. But ultimately, you could see that as soon as you lost, then you know. At this stage, the lost and knower mind will happen very fast. When it happens very fast, the mind will gain some power, some strength. The mind will be stable. There's one terms that I don't know what to do. It's actually stable and dominant. When I use the word like this, you see, like, dominant is like it's not really directly translate the phenomena. It is something that happens without controlling. It happens on its own. At this point, some people takes time for decades to achieve this point. So this, in the beginning of this year, I told everyone to walk in meditation a lot. At that day, Kun Mae had to go to teach in one course, and she said that she didn't know what to give talk. And I said that you go there and tell them that you're lazy and walk in meditation for 3 hours, and said that I asked them to. And a lot of people become disheartened, like the trees that got hot water, hold on. But some people become heartened and walk in meditation. They fight about, like, for example, 20 minutes. They keep on walking, keep on training themselves. Now, some people can walk for about 6 hours. That's actually the minimum hours of practice for the monks in the forest monasteries. But next year, we can do more than 3 hours. There's an inflation. So we still have some time left. You can walk for about 3 hours. If you cannot walk 3 hours straight, you can take some break. But while taking a break, you shouldn't go grab a mobile phone and play with it. It's just all gone if you do that. The mobile phone is the first number one enemy of this era. A lot of monks become disastrous because of they see, they imagine the, like for example, some nude pictures can comes up in the mobile phones very easily. The normal monk couldn't withstand. It's not easy to withstand. If you looking at the mobile phones, it's all gone, or the smile is gone. But if it's disallowed, it wouldn't be possible. So in your formal meditation during 3 hours, you give it to Lord Buddha. You don't offer it to the mobile phones. You have to be determined. When you keep on walking meditation, not just walking on and on. I already taught you to practice according to the principle by meditating on an object. Once the mind drifts away, no so. Our meditation object is walking meditation. Once the mind drifts away to think of other things, no so. Once the mind wander off to overfocus on the body walking, no so. Actually, when you're overfocusing, you're drifting away as well because you have craving for being good, so you don't see it and you focus on the body. Other group of people might be restless and thinking in the world of thoughts. Once the mind was in the world of thoughts, no, so you forget about your body and mind. But you will keep on walking and then you're focusing on the body, no, so as well. If you're focusing on the mind to be empty and calm, no, so as well. So try to recognize your body and mind so that you can walk in the correct way. Without mindfulness, without knowing the body and mind, you just keep on walking. Just walking for the sake of walking. There's nothing you gain from it apart from the conceitedness that you think that you're good. It's better than anyone else. That's not good. So that I told you to walk meditation, we just don't walk for the sake of walking. We don't count it hours of walking as well. We do it with the mindfulness. Walking with the mindfulness and see the body walking with the mind as an observer. Once the mind wander off to our overfocus on the body, the mind will be tight. So when you practice and it becomes tight, then knowing that you'll be overfocusing, it's not practical, it's not useful. So and also, if you walk in meditation, you wander off to think of other things, that you're wandering away. So meditate on an object, and what I ask you to do is walk in meditations. When the mind wander off to think of other things, no so. Once the mind drift away to overfocus on the body, feelings, thoughts, whatever the mind overfocuses on, no so as well. There are some characteristic of the mind that overfocusing is drifting away, is wandering off. Like send the mind out. Can you put your thumb, look at your thumb, and let your mind flow towards the thumb. Will you feel that the mind flow towards the thumb? You can practice like this, train yourself like this. You can focus on each part of the body, like the right ear, left ears, the nose, the chest, the abdomen, the feet, the knee, the kneecap, the fingers. Keep on focusing on different parts of the body. Once the mind wander off, when you're sending out the mind towards that part of the body, no so. If the mind drifts towards that part of the body, no so as well. Then you'll be able to see that the mind can move. It moves. Once the mind focuses on each part, the mind will sending out. The mind will send it will send the mind out towards that point. Once it overfocuses, then you'll be aware of it. Most of people, Once they overcasting, they wouldn't be able to see it. For example, if you see abdomen rising and falling all the time, they can see that the mind being sent out to the abdomen. If you couldn't see it, it means that you're wandering away. If you wander off to think, then you didn't know. It means that you're wandering away. But now we try to see the mind overcasting on each part of the body. Once the mind overcasts on its own, we will be able to recognize it. And how could we practice ourselves to be aware of the mind that lost? We can chant in Buddha, or breathing, or walking meditation. If the mind forget about the meditation objects and wander off to think of other things, keep on knowing. Once the mind drift away towards the world of thoughts, it will happen automatically. We practice more and more to see. We see the phenomena. The phenomena that we serve is not unwholesomeness. A lot of unwholesomeness is within our heart. So we learn from what really happened. We lost from the day we born till we die. So what we practice, if we practice from what we have, which is the mind that drifting away. The first one is wander off to think. Forget about your meditation objects. The other one is when you're sending mind out to wander off to sending the mind out to overcast on the object of meditation, like the nose. Once the mind is with the nose so, and it moves. It moves to kneecaps, right, like kneecaps, so as well. Once the mind overcasting, so, and you can memorize the phenomena of overcasting. The mindfulness will rise in these cases because it can recognize the phenomena. The mindfulness arises from the firmly recognize the phenomena. We can firmly recognize the phenomena once we see it more often. Like the mind still attached to part to one point. If you can recognize the mind that sink into or attached to the object, then you could see it. The mindfulness will arise on its own, and the wandering away mind will fall away, and the stable mind will rise. When you wander off to think, knows very often. When the mind wander off to think, knows so. Wander off again, knows so again. Then the mind recognizes the phenomena of the mind that wandering off to think. Forget about yourself and wander off to think. The mindfulness will arise. If you can recognize it, it happens from the minds that can firmly recognize the phenomena. It's not happening because we can command it to happen. Some people think that every step we have to be mindful, like brushing teeth, we want to be mindful as well. Actually, that's not the case. The mindfulness is not arising from controlling your body to be acting in a slower manner. Like you want to move head to the right, like this. No, that was crazy. It wouldn't give rise to mindfulness. The craving for controlling your mind is when you lack of mindfulness at the beginning. Because the mindfulness arises from the mind that firmly recognize the phenomena by seeing more often of the phenomena. Once they drift away to think, the mindfulness will rise on its own. To firmly recognize the phenomena of overcasting on an object, like the mind still attached to a single point. Once the mind overcasting, then the mindfulness will arise on its own. Once the mindfulness arises, then the right samadhi will rise altogether. So we don't fabricate the right samadhi. The right samadhi arises from the mindfulness. When we train the mindfulness well, then right samadhi will rise. But the right samadhi can be categorized into different categories. The first one is momentary samadhi. You don't have to train anything, just train the mindfulness. From the momentary samadhi, it can give rise to right samadhi as well, one type of them. But if you want to practice more subtly, then you go into access level of samadhi, like breathe in, breathe out until the breath's gone, and go to see the light. And once the mind flows toward the light, also, and the mind will leave the light and come back to the mind itself. The mind becomes stable. That's the second way of achieving it. This is when we go walk the path of the access level of samadhi, or the cessation, the absorption level of samadhi. To cultivate wisdom, we can use these three types of samadhi to cultivate wisdom. A lot of people, when cultivate wisdom, they use the momentary samadhi. You do not look down on the momentary samadhi. Once it arises, the aggregates will be separated. If you have enough samadhi, you can see the aggregate separates on your own. As soon as you have the mindfulness, recognize the phenomena within the body, it will happen on its own. Some people heard of the aggregate separated and try to out of body, have the out of body experience and try to observe the body from the top. That's not the case. Do not get out of your body like that. If the aggregates are separated, the mind is with yourself, but the mindfulness and wisdom is see the aggregate separated. It happens, it arises from the right samadhi, which is also originated from the right mindfulness. If you walk this path, you won't falter. But if you walk the path of the absorption level samadhi, then you have to be with the master if you make mistakes, so that you can correct it quickly. For example, you're sitting and you see different things like ghosts and past lives, and you see lottery. This is when you'll wander from the path. It's not the path towards the liberation. So in momentary samadhi, keep on cultivating wisdom like this very easily. You see that the aggregates are separated and there's no self in them. During the absorption level of samadhi, you can cultivate the wisdom in the samadhi by you have to be competent at observing the mind and also meditation. When you're competent at doing samadhi, you have to be competent at four things. The first one is to enter the samadhi. You can enter the samadhi whenever you please. The second one is you can sustain the samadhi. You can sustain as long as you want. The third one is you can cultivate wisdom in the samadhi. You can see different factors arise in the following way within the samadhi. It's actually impermanent within the samadhi. This jhana in 6, the third, any kind of jhana keep changing. Even the jhana itself is under the three characteristics. This is when you cultivate wisdom in the samadhi, in the absorption level of samadhi, in the jhana. Sometimes, when you want to cultivate in the access level of samadhi, there's different visions and noises and smells, and you can see that, for example, smell the foul things within your body. Sometimes it's like the burning flesh of the body. Sometimes you observe the body and the body explodes. The bones explodes like small pebbles on the ground. And once you observe the pebbles, then the pebbles gone becomes light, and everything's gone. Everything changing. So we don't have to learn a lot of things. We just doing the momentary samadhi. A lot of the noble ones, a lot of arahants walk this path. Do you understand what I'm saying? So first of all, you have to preserve the 5 precepts. Actually, even Pratyavatati is very diligent at preserving the 5 precepts in order to control the body and the speech. Why we have to control the body and speech? Because during the vipassana practice, we won't control the body and mind. We will know them as they really are. We know them without controlling them. We just feel them, sense them, do not control them. When we don't control them, it means that we don't control our mind or body. We not be careful of the speech. We let the mind work on its own. This is very dangerous point, because if you don't suppress yourself and then you're accustomed to telling off other people, and you realize that that's going to break precepts and you won't telling off other people. When you, for example, becomes angry and becomes dissatisfied towards particular things, you know that your mind is angry. The aversion cannot take over your mind, and your morality would be automatic. But if you're very angry and you cannot know your mind anymore, because when we do practice the vipassana practice, we don't control ourselves. We let the mind works, the body works, and try to be mindful of them. Once the mindfulness just become weakened and you didn't know that you are angry right now, you want to kill them, you want to attack them, be mindful of that. Then you won't kill them. But if without mindfulness, you think to yourself that if you're attacking other people, you're breaking the precepts. So you have to warn yourself that you have to have the precepts. For example, at the beginning of your day, when you're waking up in the morning, try to recite the 5 precepts. Try to intentionally think that you want to maintain the 5 precepts. Like go to the temple, you want to have a breakfast, then you become angry, you forget about your 5 precepts, you want to hit that person, you're breaking that mistake, you're breaking the precept because you're attacking other people. So you have to warn yourself since the beginning of your when waking up in the morning, before going to at the morning, at lunchtime, at the evening. Try to before going to bed, try to have intention to preserve the 5 precepts automatically. To think of this morality very often, and your samadhi would be easier. If your morality, your precept is well preserved, then try to train your mind. Once the mind focus no, so drift away no, so as well. During vipassana practice, we let the body mind work. It happens because of the mind. Why the body moves? Because of the mind. Why it needs to move? Because it suffers. It needs to escaping from suffering. Why the mind moves? Because the mind wanting to get the emotions and objects, want to get away from the displeasing objects and want to searching for the pleasing objects. Once the craving take over the mind, if the mind craving, the mind suffers. If the mind is not craving, it does not suffer. But at the beginning, you see this. But once you practice more subtly, you see that when you practice for a period at the beginning, you can see that whenever the mind is craving, then the mind suffers. Without craving, the mind won't suffer. But at the end of your practice, you can see that whether the mind is craving or not, whether it's attached to anything or not, the mind itself is suffering. You will see at this point, so that it can let go of the mind. This is the end point. I just tell you in advance. Like Master Budun told me things in advance. He told me because he's very old and he's afraid of nobody told me. Whatever I learn from the Master, I tell everyone. And you can do whether it's real, whether it's true or not. You practice every day. Informal meditations, walking meditation for 3 hours if you can. But if it's too painful, you don't being keep on walking, you if the next day you won't be able to walk. Today you might do like 20 minutes and the next day 30 minutes. You set your objective. And when we're walking, we just not walk for the sake of walking. Once the mind drift away, no soul, focusing no soul again. And if you have the mind become stable and strengthened, then you cultivate wisdom, seeing the body is not you, us. The mind is not us. You keep on repeating this, and the wisdom will be more matured, and you could see that the body is actually the suffering. And at the end of the practice, you see that even the mind is under the suffering as well. This is when you can know the suffering. If you know the suffering, as soon as you see the mind without the craving, that's the mind that touched the Nibbana. Nibbana happens because when you could see the suffering with crystal clarity. This is cause and effect of teaching of Lord Buddha. As soon as you let go of the cravings, then you can enter the cessation of the craving. That's the noble path moment. So when you knows the suffering and cultivates the noble path, it happens in a single moment. You practice it till you see that there are a lot of noble paths and the different jobs of the functions of concerning Four Noble Truths. How could we do it all at once? If you keep on thinking it's impossible, just practice from step by step, like knowing your mind till you gain samadhi, have this morality samadhi, and once the wisdom, you can cultivate them by having the mindfulness recognizing the three characteristics of the body and mind. At the end, even the mind itself, apart from under the suffering, apart from under three characteristics, is actually the suffering itself. At that moment, the mind will let go of the whole world. If the mind can let go of the mind, it can let go of the whole world, all the aggregates as well. That's the end of the suffering. So that should be enough for today. Go on, practice. Next 20 years, if you understand what I'm saying, you're good. Even 20 years after this, keep on practicing. But if you keep on overcasting even 100 years or 100 lifetime, you just here. So just take some break. I keep on talking till I forgot to drink some water. All water's just gone cold. Number 1. I practice by observing the mind and taking turn observing the body. I try to see the body breathing in, breathe out. Sometimes I can observe it, so I move the body till I sense them, sense the body. During the formal meditations, I walk in meditation and sitting meditation as well. I'm not sure whether my practice is correct. Paul said that it's correct, but is the mind now is normal? Is it when you're at home? Your mind is like this? No, not the same. Good. Because if it's like this, then it means that it is incorrect. You're overguessing, controlling your mind. There's a controlling. If you control it, then you gain only smarter practice. If you let the mind work and have the mindfulness to be aware of them, then you can cultivate wisdom. You're just pretending smiling. You see that? Just be aware of it. This is when you fabricate it. That's good. What you practice is good. Keep on practicing, but try to be aware of the fabrication. It's very subtle. When you don't practice it, when you don't fabricate this, you fabricate that. Now, the mind wander off to the world of thoughts. You know so as well. You have intention the mind to be still. Know so as well. These are all fabrication. You see that when you don't have intention, the mind becomes joyful, joyful and knowing and awakened. Avijja Pacha Sankhara in Pali. Actually, the Sankhara in Pali, actually the intention, the good and bad intention, or intention is not to make contact with the world. Once that intention arises, then there's a process of the mind. And it keeps on craving, doing this and doing that. Craving this to stay, craving that to go away. It's actually coming from the intention that you didn't see. You see that when you want to sit in meditation, to have intention as well. When you want to talk to me, there's intention as well. This is when you try to faking it, like faking smiling like this. Now you'll like control your mind to be still like this. If you know so, that's good. Keep on practicing and like do like. And if you stuck like that, you'll never be able to move on. Number 2, do not breathe a lot or you'll become tired. In formal meditation, try to practice moving and I observe the phenomena coming. I can remember when Luangpu taught to become self-aware. Sometimes the mind knows, but the mind is not the same. Sometimes I knew that I suppress the mind or draw the mind back. Can you kindly recommend, suggest me? When your mind drift away, no so like that, no so very often, then you can see the fabricates separated on your own. You get the answer. If you're controlling your mind, also drift away, also as well. Practice a lot. And once the mind becomes stable, then the aggregates will be separated on its own. Keep on practicing number 2. But do not lift up the mind too much. Be normal. Do you see that like this? Do not do like that. Otherwise, your neck will be elongated than others. Come back here like this. Do not just in the middle of the air. Number 3. I walking about 3 hours or more. Observe the body moves and still, and try to be aware of the mind that drift away to thinking, moving to 6 internal sense bases. And I've tried to cultivate mindfulness in daily life. Once the mind drift away to think and have satisfaction, dissatisfaction towards those phenomena. Sometimes the mind run away and have the craving to take a grip on the things that I dislike. I practice and time it just happens on its own. Do you practice correctly? And the phenomena that some phenomena teaching yourself, some people couldn't imagine, but they never witnessed this happen. Actually, the Dhamma can be given through the heart. And Master Luangpu Pramote actually used to teach that all kinds of Dhamma coming from one single purified mind of Lord Buddha. So if your mind have enough quality, then it can give talks, give some Dhamma talks as well. But most of us It's actually not the mind giving Dhamma. It's actually visions. It happens, saying that you'll become enlightened, or that's when you're deluding the visions, not the minds that giving talks, giving Dhamma talk. Number three, you actually taste the Dhamma from the mind. But most people, they are fooled by the vision. It's not real. The minds that can give talks, that give Dhamma talks, is when the mind is at the right samadhi. The mind needs to be stable and have the strong mindfulness. If I use the word strong, you try to fortify, try to making it strong. No, that's not correct. Now your mind locked in. It's still. Number 4, you're good as well. Number 5, 6, 7, very good. I practice informal meditations by walking and do anapanasati about 1 to 3 hours a day. I cultivate mindfulness in daily life by observing the 4 postures and see phenomena arise in the following way. I observe the aversion because I'm angry nature, and the aversion arises very often. Sometimes I drift away to think about other things quite often and quite a lot, and take time for me to see. To see the 3 characteristics, I'm not sure whether I can see it correctly. I want to attain the first stage of Dhamma in this life. Can you kindly suggest? The Paul said that what you practice is correct and also good as well. Keep on practicing. It's not difficult. But if you have intention to practice, your mind will be stiff. You're good, very good. Keep on practicing. Number 4 is good. You have a lot of wisdom. You don't have to worry about wisdom cultivation. If you have enough samadhi, then you can cultivate wisdom on your own. Whatever you see is under 3 characteristics. If you have to see the non-self, you cannot see impermanent suffering. This mind now is the mind that is correct. Now it's wrong. It's different from the previous one. Now you fabricate the mind to be stiff. Good. Number 4. Number 5. I practice form meditation consistently every day about 3 hours, and I change my meditation options from sitting to walking meditation. At the beginning, I didn't know that there's a craving for good. Now I do it more relaxing way. I have happiness in practice Dhamma, and I see the body breathing in and out, and I see the heart beating, and also observe the mind thinks, and there's like and dislike, and sometimes raptures arise in a fast way. I'm not sure whether can you kindly suggest. The Paul said that keep on practicing. You've been practicing good, but there's a custom, your inclination towards the stillness of the mind. You fabricate the mind to be still because you are afraid of being so. You want to be still. See, there's some weight upon your mind. If there's a weight upon your mind, then you fabricate it. You control yourself. What you practice is good, and you can observe yourself. Do not hurry. Going slow. Number 4 as well. Just do not want to become a stream enterer in this life and do not pay attention to it. Just try to be aware of your mind. Like when we having a lot of meals and after some bites you will be full. Number 5, you're thinking. It's like to make it still like that. Let go. If it's stuck in that stillness, then the mind can relax and not tight. What you practice is good, correct. Number 6, do Do not start. Do not got two exercises. You're very good, actually. I practice 4 meditations by walking meditation, and also sitting and being mindful about 90 minutes a day. And in daily life, I try to observe the body, sense the body, and chanting. And I like to changing the mantra and like when the mind, whatever the mind likes, and drift away for a long period of time, and can help me doing giving me the mantra that I appropriate. Luangpu suggests that you can use the loving kindness mantra. There's a lot of the master's mantra like Luangpu Kha. That's very good, actually. It's both calm and serene. Puttha metang citang mama. Puttha puttha nupavena. Dhamma metang. Dhamma metang citang mama. Dhamma dhamma nupavena. Sankha metang citang mama. Sankha sankha nupavena. If you cannot memorize it, then you can go and search it. This mantra is very warm and serene. It's appropriate for people who angry nature. Number 7. I do formal meditation every day and walking meditations about 1 or 2 hours a day. And the mind like to think. Sometimes I couldn't realize that. Sometimes I couldn't. Sometimes I overthinking. During the day, I try to be self-aware, and sometimes the mind meditates on its own, and there's a different, like the wind elements circulating in the mind. And what you, Luangpu said that when you practice, whatever defilement arises, no so. When aversion arises, irritation arises, no so. Relax, no so as well. Keep on knowing the phenomena in a relaxing way without hurrying. Now incline the mind towards stillness. Too much. Do not control the mind to be still like that. Accept the fact that you want to do with calmness samadhi. You can do so. Now it's good. Correct. Keep on practicing. But you have to be careful of one thing. Do not interfere the mind to be still. Let the mind work. Let the body move in natural way, and let the mind change in natural way. Be mindful of these phenomena. But if you cannot know, come back to just calmness mind in a single object, so the mind can take some rest. Number 8, do not startle. I just try to fool. I told that 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is very good. And I didn't say number 8. Can you see that? Good. No, just not know that I try to fool you. Just know that your mind is disheartened. Keep on practicing, actually good. The mind wander off to think also. Do not try to know it. Let it drift away first and know so. Now you control the mind. It will be tight. You see that? See? You're actually good. I just try to tease you. Because you're trying to become still like that. So I teased you. So that's it for today. Tomorrow there's a offering robe ceremony, robe offerings ceremony. If you live next to it, the temple, you can go to the temple around your neighborhood. Offering the robe is limited time. And it's also Sanghadana when we don't specify the monks that we give the robe to. And our mind will be broadened and do not specific on any particular individual. And it also the mind that is the limited time within the Pansa, and there's different conditions here. Anything that difficult helps train yourself, and everything just seem to be easy, then you'll satisfy your mind. You become weakened. So when you offer the rope, you have to do it right. Everybody here is the ones who offer the rope. Then, but there's actually the main person who offered the rope, but the rest of us, we come together and offer the rope. We can anumodana. You don't have to spend money. If you see anyone's doing good, then you feel pleased with them. You anumodana. Anumodana is not like anumodana sadhu and you gain the merit. Some people say that you donate the blood and you say that anumodana sadhu, but your mind say that look at your body. You look down on from head to toe. Your mind and your mouth are not in the same align. So that's